Live. Good evening. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for Ask an Expert, whether you're watching live online right now or you're watching the recording. We're so glad you're here. So, tonight we are continuing our trend of Ask an Expert with talking about some big topics. Tonight's topic is about influencing healthy lifestyle choices for youth. So I have so much appreciation for those that are here just to gain more knowledge about how you can support yourself, a loved one in your life, so we can just have happier, healthier communities. My name is Amanda Rabluski. I'm a licensed clinical social worker at Boulder Community Health, and I coordinate what's called the Pillar program. Pillar is a service, a free service that navigates the continuum of care of treatment for substance use disorders, and along with that usually just comes care for behavioral health concerns as well. We are located in Boulder, Colorado. I will put my contact info in the chat so you can reach out to me and we can help get you connected to some support. So, like I mentioned, Ask an Expert tackles really big issues generally that are related generally to substance use, behavioral health, trauma, pain, and we certainly won't answer all the questions over the next hour, but I do invite you to put some questions or thoughts in the chat box on your screen. We will get to them as best we can, try to answer them as best we can in the time being, and anything that we don't get to or feels a little more nuanced, we can certainly talk about offline. So I want to thank our funders, the City of Boulder, the hospital, and give a shout out to beautiful Stone Cottage Studios where we are recording again this evening. So we, truly takes a community, and we couldn't do it without any of you or any of the entities involved. Tonight, we have Kate Corre from the YMCA that's, again, going to be talking about how to be a safe space for youth, and hopefully you'll walk away with some more knowledge and some tools. Give us just 1 second, and I will turn it over to Kate. Thank you so much.
All right, everybody, thanks for joining us tonight, and I'm really excited to be here. Again, my name is Kate Corre. I'm the Director of Training for YMCA of Northern Colorado and Southern Wyoming. So tonight we get to talk about what it means to be an influencer. And are you an influencer, and how can you influence and support our youth today in living healthy lifestyles? Okay, so we're just going to get started and talking about what the influencer program is here at the YMCA. We work with and we partner with community partners, influential adults, to train them and make sure that they have access to resources like the Pillar program and other substance abuse resources, but then also really try and understand what their impact is on today's youth. We guide participants in the trainings that we do out in the community, and with all of our almost 900 staff members here in Northern Colorado, to really understand what that influential role is in protecting people from youth from substance abuse. So what is an influencer? I'm not really talking about the Instagram influencers or beauty influencers. I know that is a big thing right now. But what does it mean to be an everyday influencer for our youth? Okay, Merriam-Webster definition of an influencer is one who exerts influence, a person who inspires or guides actions of others. So at the YMCA, we kind of talk about how we can use our influence, how we can use the inspiration with youth to guide them into healthy lifestyles. We start that by following our mission. Our mission that guides all of our principles is to put Christian principles into practice through programs that build a healthy spirit, mind, and body for all. And that mission is really about building a bigger table, about understanding that we are open and really want to provide a comprehensive support for all of our communities, for all of our kids and families that we serve. Our values. We have 5 values here at the YMCA of Northern Colorado. The first one being caring, that we have true, sincere concern for others, especially those in our community, their well-being, their family's well-being, and we want to be here in multiple facets to be able to support them as much as we can. Honesty is about being truthful about not just what you say, but also what you do. About saying, I'm going to be here and I will show up for you. I will be here when I tell you I'm going to be here, and I will show up in various ways, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. Okay, respect. Respect, obviously we have treat others how you want to be treated, but truly understanding what respect is, that we respect where people come from, what they've gone through, and how we can support them individually. Everybody's different. Responsibility. We want to make sure that we are accountable for the promises and our actions that we provide to the community. Okay, it's our responsibility to support those. If we see a need, we try and fill that need the best that we possibly can, whether it be for an individual person, young or old, or it be for a whole entire community. And then those are the 4 values for all of YMCA, YUSA. In Northern Colorado, we've adopted an additional value, inclusion. It's all about appreciating our differences and making sure that everybody belongs, despite any of their past experiences, cultural backgrounds, religious backgrounds, political backgrounds, is making sure that anybody from any walk of life is able to find a safe place and a place that they feel welcome, included, and truly feel like they belong. So, in what ways does the YMCA support our community? I talked about specifics with our values and our missions, but we also have a cause, and that's our overarching theme. Our cause is to strengthen the foundations of community through youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. Today, we're really going to get into that, of what it means to be an influencer in all 3 of those areas. The cause of why we're here to support our youth in leading healthy lifestyles and having a safe place to be. So there are a couple ways that we do that. Just to name a few, we have tons of programs, but these are the ones that focus mostly with our youth today. So we have before and after school care, which is for kindergarten through 6th graders. So parents can opt in to just before or just after school care, or both. This is where they have consistent staff members that are there to support them in guided curriculum activities, as well as any sort of homework help or anything that they need. We have our summer camps. We have day camps at our locations, as well as our day camp and overnight camp at Camp Tumbleson Lake. This is where our youth get to interact with camp counselors on a consistent basis. A lot of them, they'll notice from before and after school care, so they have those continued relationships and influential relationships throughout the whole entire year. Our sports programs. Sports programs are awesome because they get to build relationships with coaches, and we have consistent staff members that support in various sports in their specialties as well. We also right now are really focusing on how we become the YMCA, how the YMCA of Northern Colorado becomes that 3rd place. We all have 2 places, home and work, at least, or school for the audience that we're talking about. But that 3rd place, we really are able to bring YMCA to life and play that influential role through our family programs. Some of those things are family movie nights. So we can host family movie nights. Sometimes it's a drive-in and it helps with the little kids, and then the older kids get to hang out and have snacks or pizza. We have a teen passport program, which is a really fun summer program to keep teens involved over the summer. They can come in for daily activities, whether it be on Alien Day, they get to make alien activities and watch ET, or they make friendship bracelets, or diamond painting, or build a fun robot. So it's a way to keep them connected in a safe place over the summer. We do family bingo, being able to get out of the house and build relationship with your individual family, but then also meeting other families. So we really start to become that cohesive community. We also have teen personal training. We'll talk about this a little bit later in the sense of how we can give teens an outlet to where they can work out, they can experience success, maybe a new personal record that they have, or lifting weights or running fast or anything like that. But having teen personal training helps to make sure that they're doing it safely, accurately, in a safe place, and really get to experience that success. We also have our backpack food programs. These programs are awesome because we're able to address not only social and physical support, but we're going to help fight food insecurity. So during the school year, kids are able to have access to free lunch at schools. But what do they do over the weekend? A lot of youth have found support with the Y. Is we have these backpack programs where they get to come in on a Friday and take a bag of food from a trusted source that they have, a safe place, and take that home and have food over the weekend. So we're helping support them in filling that need. So all in all, at a high level, a strong community creates a positive future for youth. And the youth are our future. So we need to make sure that we're supporting them the best way that we can. So we do that by being trusted adults. In order for our youth to truly take advantage of the programs and see the YMCA as a safe third place for them to be, we have to become trusted adults. Other trusted adults that you might know of are family members. I mean, I know I had an aunt growing up that I might have told her more things that I told my parents. We all have a family member that we're a little bit closer to. We have coaches. Coaches are great because we get to experience success, and they are often that person that holds you accountable, and they're consistent, and they help you achieve goals and have concrete goals for you. Our teachers. We all have a favorite teacher. I know we have favorite teachers. So our teachers are definitely trusted adults. And in the roles that they provide in our education, our physical growth, if they're PE teachers, and our counselors that we might see at school, or maybe even clinical counselors that we work with to overcome trauma or adverse experiences. We have various trusted adults in our lives. And of course, as I've been talking about it, we have youth pastors, and then we have the YMCA staff, who we can be a couple of those things, from family members to teachers to coaches. And there are plenty more, but those are just a few of our trusted adults that we talk about.
We have a quick question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is the YMCA a Christian organization?
Our mission is to put Christian principles into practice. And I think that that is a great question. YMCAs that are under the umbrella of the YUSA Federation is we have the same mission everywhere. And like I said, that is really about building a longer table, the principles of acceptance and inclusion. Do we have like Bible verses all over the buildings? Not in Northern Colorado. I can't speak for other ones, but in Northern Colorado, we want to make sure that all people of all religions, all faiths, all backgrounds feel welcome and included.
And isn't YMCA an acronym for, is it Young Men's Christian Organization?
It is Young Men's Christian Organization. We started back in the late 1800s in England, actually. It started out as a Bible study initially, and as it grew about wanting to make bigger impact and living the principles and not just the scripture, We actually have our first woman president and CEO the last couple years. It's wonderful. So we're really starting to build that inclusive.
First woman since the 1800s?
Yep, our first female CEO, presidency of YUSA at least. So, and we came over and started out in Boston in the U.S. So,
great, thank you.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to do a little bit of an exercise. I know most of you are online right now, so you're on your honor to go through this and do it. I'm going to take you through it, okay? So I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to think about who was a trusted adult when you were young. Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple questions, but just try and get that person in your mind. If you can remember what they look like, maybe the types of clothes they used to wear, if they had a special type of perfume or cologne. So who was that trusted adult? Putting a name to them. What made this person special? What was unique about them as a person? Now here's the big question. How did they help you when you were young? What impact did they have on you? What impact did they leave that you still take with you through your adult life? So thinking about that, of however long ago it was, when I did this exercise for the first time, mine was a teacher. And the last time I saw her was high school, and she's wonderful. And yes, we are Facebook friends. She's amazing. Now I'm not a student anymore, so it's okay. But understanding the fact that she showed up every day. She was that trusted source. She was that person that never had any judgment. And now I think about how can I put that impact forth in the world, is how can I pay it forward, is my challenge to you tonight is to think about your impact of how you can be an influencer, about how you can bring this to youth that you interface with on a daily basis, whether it be family members, if you're a teacher, the students you interface with, or any other roles that you play. How can you be that trusted, safe place and create these experiences? So I'm going to have you take a second, think about the feelings and how that influential person supported you, and now flip the script. You are that influential person. I want you to put down, if you have pen and paper in front of you, cool. If not, file it in your brain box, okay? At least one, if not, try and do two things of very tangible things that you can do on a daily basis as you interact with youth. If you can't think of them right now, we will be going through a couple, so that might help out. So now understanding that it might be seemingly insignificant. I showed up for my shift every day for the last 3 months. I might have gone on vacation once, and then I showed up for every shift that I needed to. And I was there consistently, showing up as a mentor, as a teacher, as a coach, and what that consistency provides. Because if we're not trusted as adults, if we're not trusted influencers, we don't have a strong community. We can't support our youth, and then that's when they start to turn to substance abuse, when they feel lost, when they feel like they don't have anywhere to go or any safe place to talk. Okay? So let's talk about what we know about substance abuse. In 2023, 1 in 10 teenagers, 12 to 17 years old, needed substance abuse treatment. Now, this is coming from the National Center of Drug Abuse, and I listed the website on the slide. If you guys want that, you can screenshot it. A few factoids. So the next 2 slides, we're going to go through some facts. In 2023, 1.86 million adolescents aged 12 to 17, about 17% of teens, or 7% of teens nationwide reported using drugs in the last month. Not in their lifetime, in the last month. Nearly 37% of young people use an illegal drug by the time they reach 12th grade. Other users within the last 30 days, so within the last month, it was reported that 5.4% of 8th graders used illegal drugs, 10% of 10th graders, and 16.5% of 12th graders in the past 30 days used some sort of illegal drug. Now, this is a stat to really keep in mind. Users who try an illegal drug before the age of 15 are 6.5 times more likely to develop a substance abuse problem by the time they're 21, if they don't wait until they're 21 years old to try any sort of substance. Now, we're in Colorado, YMCA of Northern Colorado, talk about Boulder Community Health. We're here in Colorado, so I'll give you a couple of Colorado stats. Teens in Colorado are 18.78, nearly 19% more likely to have used drugs in the last month than the average American teen. I know that seems like a lot, but from the last time we had these statistics were pulled, which were 2016 to 2020, it was about 28%, almost 30%. So we've actually gone down. So it seems like a lot, but have a little bit of hope there. 38,000 or 8.62 report using drugs in the last month in Colorado. Nearly 14% reported using marijuana in the last year. About 0.25% reported using cocaine in the last year. 0.11% reported using methamphetamines. And just over 2% reported using pain relievers, non-prescribed pain relievers. Okay? And 12 to 17-year-olds in Colorado are 22.56% more likely to abuse alcohol than any other American teen in this country. Okay? So those are some heavy statistics, and really wanting to understand, and this is what we're here for tonight, is like Amanda said, we're not going to have concrete things to say, here's exactly how you become an influencer, but here are the things and the areas that you can focus on of how we can be influential adults. First, we need to understand why our youth abuse substances. And the National Institute of Drug Abuse has determined that there's 5 main reasons. And it's to fit in, to feel good, okay, to feel better, to do better, and to experiment, to just try new things. So 4 of those are trying to fill a need that's not being met, right? And how can we support them in meeting that need in a healthy way and living a healthy lifestyle so they don't feel that they have to go in another directions? The YMCA we're not experts, we're not claiming to be experts on drug abuse or drug prevention, but we're here tonight because we are here to teach and show how you can be that safe place, of how you can be influential for teens to fill those voids so they can fit in, they can feel good about themselves and have confidence, do better, feel better. Okay? So what are the risk factors? We need to understand the risk factors before we can really start to support. Risk factors are characteristics that are associated with higher likelihood of negative outcomes. Risk factors specifically of substance abuse are poverty, homelessness, abuse, all types of abuse, genetic predisposition to drugs, and low self-esteem. We've talked about some of the programs already that we have to help combat this and alleviate these risk factors. Okay? But in general, if you're not part of the Y, what can you do as an influencer? You can provide protective factors. Okay? So these are things that help overcome the likelihood of somebody abusing drugs. Okay? Overcoming the risk factors. Protective factors can really include strong social connections. Okay, we talked about this, is you're being a safe place, being somebody who's open and able to not judge. Okay, positive experiences. Think about the exercise we did with you remembering what your most influential person was when you were a child. Providing concrete support, showing up, unwaveringly so. A strong community, and them having positive self-esteem. So there's a little bit more research to these things, right? The power of 40 developmental assets was developed by the Search Institute. Okay, these developmental assets are really considered to be the building blocks of our youth, of how they become well-rounded adults, of how they're able to contribute and pay it forward within our community. Okay, these assets are divided into internal assets and external assets. Okay, internal assets focus on social emotional growth, and external focus on relationships and opportunities. Okay, I'm pulling up an image right now so you guys can look at what these 40 developmental assets are. The YMCA, we cover and we do quite a few of these in a few of our programs, in a lot of our programs, is we have the ability for youth from 8 years and above to be able to be in our facilities with a parent or on their own, using our equipment, using all of that. They can be in child watch for just little tiny babies up through 8 years. So we're able to touch on these within our facilities and within our programs that are not in our facilities. So what are some of the main ones that the YMCA does? We work on self-esteem. Okay, self-esteem can be confidence and success and understanding that they matter, whether it be in a STEM program, a robotics program, a sports program, a dance program. Okay, a sense of purpose. They're able to give back to the community. You know, it was a great question earlier of, you know, is this a Christian organization? This sense of purpose is, how do we give back? Is how do we pay it forward? How do I become a part of this community, whether it be a food drive or donations and philanthropy? Okay. Family support. We have a ton of family programs. Is it takes a village. We've all heard that before. Is the YMCA, as that third place, really starts to become that village, because you have multiple trusted adults in addition to a mom or a dad or a parent of any sort. We're able to support all types of families. Positive values. We have our 5 positive values here at YMCA of Northern Colorado. But having and supporting kids understand and identify their own values, their family unit values, what that means to them, okay? And then we have caring, honesty, responsibility. You've heard a couple of these from us before. We live these every day at the Y, okay? We have our youth programs, our positive peer influence. Throughout our youth programs, throughout our family programs that we have, kids really have that third place where they can build relationship with kids from different walks of life, but have similar experiences. And sometimes it's hard when you don't find somebody that you connect with, as they have multiple opportunities here at the Y for positive peer influence. We also support in school engagement. We as a company engage with schools, but really teaching kids how can you engage with school better, whether it be homework help or guiding them on how to talk to their teachers or how to show up on a daily basis with school. Okay, and there's so much more. Those are just to name a few, but I really recommend that you look into these 40 developmental assets, because it's a great guide. It's a great way to get started of saying, how can I be an influencer in my child's life, in the youth that I work with? How can I support them in the best way possible? All right, so in the end, remembering the why. Okay, remember why you are here. Why do you want to support? Okay, adolescents use drugs to fit in, to feel good, to feel better, to do better, and to experiment. Can we give them safe places to do all of these things and fulfill those needs in a safe, healthy lifestyle? The YMCA can fill these needs by serving as a protective factor. At the Y, youth can take positive risk by hitting a new PR in the gym. Positive risk, lift the heaviest weight that you've ever lifted before to get that personal record. They can feel confident when jumping off the diving board for the very first time, and they can feel included when they make connections with other friends at their summer camp or other family activities that we do. Okay? So I've talked to you about the prevention aspect of how to be a safe place, how to support kids so they don't feel the need necessarily to turn to substance abuse. But what if they do? How can you help as an influential adult? Okay? First and foremost, if they come to you and tell you that they've abused any sort of substance, make sure you avoid judgment. That has to be in your words, in your tone. And the thing I have the most problem in life with is my facial expressions. Make sure that you're avoiding judgment. Okay? Being compassionate in your response. Remember, there is some sort of factor that drove them to feel that there was no other choice than doing substance abuse. How can we be compassionate to that initial root cause? Okay? Help them understand the actual risks of whatever substance they're abusing, whether it be cognitive deficits or physical or any sort of risks that they might come in contact with. Okay? And to be a continued source, not just cutting them off because they broke the rules. How can you constantly show up and be that structured, safe, honest place for them? Okay? And just so you all know, at the YMCA of Northern Colorado, all of our staff are trained as mandatory reporters as well. So understanding how we can navigate that situation with compassion to support our youth to get the right resources.
Kate, can you explain what a mandatory reporter is?
Yeah, a mandatory reporter means that we have to legally report any sort of abuse that a youth is going through. So whether it be physical, sexual, emotional abuse, neglect, anything like that, we have to report that. And we also have to report if there is any sort of physical harm that they wish to do to themselves.
And who do you make that report to?
We call the CDHS 844 Colorado for Kids hotline. So make sure you don't have to be a mandatory reporter to report any of this. We just are. But anybody can report any type of abuse at any time to 844 Colorado for Kids.
And I think something to remember too is you can make those reports anonymously.
Yep,
because
absolutely.
I have heard often from people, well, I'm scared this is going to come back on me if my neighbor, finds out I'm the one that reported them. But nope, you can make those reports anonymously and just get the paper trail at least started for a pattern that a young person may be going through if nothing else comes of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Is being able to ensure that they're getting the support they need. And if there is a pattern, is you never know if the phone call that you make is the first phone call and it might just be one off, but you might not realize that maybe it was the 7th or the 8th phone call. I mean, because it is anonymous, you won't know that, but that's the whole point, is when is enough enough? And they'll never know that unless somebody steps up and says something.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So actual tactical things that you can say if youth come to you and tell you that they're abusing some sort of substance. You can respond by saying, I care about you and I want to support you. You can respond by saying, I see you as someone who can make good decisions. We're reassuring them and giving them hope that they're not just what one bad decision is. I see you as someone who has goals. Those goals can be huge stretch goals. They can be smaller goals. They can be goals to be healthy, to be happy. And I see you as someone who can bounce back from mistakes. Now, youth are curious. I've been working with youth since 2010. I feel so old. Since 2000, even before 2010, honestly. But what if when you're interacting with them, what if they ask you like, well, hey, do you do drugs? Have you ever done any drugs in the past? How do you deal with that? We can acknowledge, but you don't have to answer that question. The quickest, easiest way to redirect the conversation about their personal use, be like, hey, today we're going to focus on current events. We're going to focus on what's happening today. Okay. Be prepared with statements that really support values and values that you're given. So if you are at your work and interacting with youth as part of your daily job, is ensuring that your response is aligned with the values and mission of the place that you work. But also talking to them, because if you're a trusted adult, you probably already know their values. Is how can you align what they're doing with their values and try and help them keep on their subject. And what are some other ways, actual examples? We can also say that's a very personal question. Okay? I'm not comfortable with you asking that. Some other people might say, I'm not comfortable with me answering that right now. Okay? So we're not putting the responsibility on the youth, but we can say, I'm just not comfortable answering that. I know people who've gotten into trouble using drugs, and I wouldn't want that to happen to somebody else that I care about. Okay? Those are just some of the examples. Now, I've talked to you a lot about what it means to be an influencer, about how the Y can support youth in Northern Colorado in various ways to have that third place, that safe place. Okay? Now, I'm going to kind of flip the script a little bit, and we're going to watch a video. I'm going to have a YouTube video within YouTube. And this is all about how when kids meet a kid in recovery and when they're talking to peers and how those reactions are different, because we've all had those experiences of a parent can tell you, go clean your room a bajillion times, but when a friend tells you your room's a mess, generally the room gets cleaned. So here's a good video. Hold on. I don't know if it's going to play for us right now.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. It's not wanting to.
If it doesn't,
can we drop the link?
Yes,
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. So we'll drop the link, and it's only about a 7-minute video, but it's a really interesting video. There's a youth in recovery, and he talks to multiple kids, some really young, some as old as a little bit older than him, and it's a really good video to see the honesty, the rawness, and how being so genuine really connects with the other kids, and they really see that. So that kid in himself was an influencer because he was genuine, because he took the time and he was honest with the other youth that he talked to. So to round it out, by planting a seed to help youth grow, when you take the time to get to know a person, truly get to know them, not just what your favorite color is. And when you show them that you truly care, you are planting the seeds for safety. You are planting the seeds where they can come to you in a true time of need. And that is what leads to a stronger community for our youth and for all of our community members. So thank you for joining me tonight. Again, my name is Kate Corre. I'm the Director of Training and Recruitment at the YMCA of Northern Colorado. There's my email address. If anybody wants to shoot me an email, has questions about anything, I'm happy to follow up in the future.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Kate. Sorry, I'm just putting the link in the chat and what I Google searched to find it, just in case the link doesn't work. That is incredibly helpful. So we are an adult hospital, so we don't often interact, for long periods of time with youth. But I myself am a parent and terrified of the teenage years. If I'm being quite honest, they're still little right now. But this made it makes it less scary, right? When you have just a better understanding, and I'll speak for myself, when there's just more context around why youth are engaging in risky behavior, and here are the things, we don't have to solve it in the moment.